This is Jeff checking again from Art Story Studios, and look who stopped to see me,
Hi,
Betty.
how are you?
I'm good. And Betty, tell the folks where you're from.
I'm from Richard's Auto Repair and Towing.
In Fairmont.
In Fairmont,
right
Minnesota.
Here in Fairmont.
Wonderful town.
Absolutely. You know, Betty, we just got done shooting an episode of Martin County on TV just like an hour ago. Do you want to see what that
Oh, I'd love to.
Let's check it out.
I'm Jeff Hagan. I am the manager of the Fairmont Photo Press, and it's our local newspaper here, which covers not only Fairmont but the entire area itself. It's a newspaper for only good news. If you want to check out what that's all about, just go to FairmontPhotoPress.com, and of course Fairmont's all spelled out, and you can find out all about the Fairmont Photo Press itself. Today, though, I'm being joined by somebody that you all know. We have Blake from the Fairmont Opera House. Welcome, Blake.
Hey, how you doing, Jeff? Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me today.
Sure, and I understand there's quite a bit of stuff coming up. You got your normal schedule, which is busy.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
But you have some things coming up also further out, Civic Summer Theater being one of them. Tell me a little bit about it.
So we always have tons of stuff going on. Like every 2 weeks we've got something going on at the Opera House, so we're really busy with that. But this year we're really excited because historically Civic Summer Theater, which has been around, I think this year's 55 years is what it's going to be. Historically, Civic Summer Theater did 2 shows a summer. They would do a non-musical in the beginning of the summer, in June, and then in July would be the musical. We got away from that for a few years to just try to rebuild and refresh and kind of rediscover what that organization wanted to be. And now we're moving forward, and we've added a murder mystery, which is coming up in December, and we're bringing back that non-musical. So we're really expanding the opportunities for local folks like you and I to be involved in performances for Civic Summer Theater and at the Fairmont Opera House.
So you're going to be looking for people for both deals then?
Absolutely.
So, I know one of the things that people say, well, I can't act. But murder mystery actually is really a good thing for somebody that has never done that before, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. I mean, any time that you can be in front of people and have conversation, I mean, really that's what it gets down to, what you're doing. And I've worked with lots of people who said, well, I can't act, I can't perform in front of people, I'm not this, that, or the other, and that's okay. Everybody needs an opportunity to give it a try. I mean, my big push is that you don't really know if you like something or don't like something, or can do or can't do something, unless you actually try it. We had a lot of people this year who said, well, I don't like ballet. And I said, well, have you ever been to a ballet? No, I just don't like it. Well, and then I said, here's some free tickets. Come on to the show, and if you don't like it, we'll talk about it afterwards. And I talked to those same people, and they said, no, actually, that was kind of interesting. So I think that if you have ever been interested in or have wanted to try acting or performing, I mean, there's always a spot here. And really, we live in such a great community that we're not going to judge you or anybody who's on stage for what you can or can't do. I mean, there's something to be said about getting up in front of people and giving your best. And what you'd think is your best or what you think you can give may not be all that you can give. And so being part of that is something that's really important. So we always ask, if you've ever been interested, just give it a try. The worst thing that can happen is you find out you don't enjoy it, but you may find out that you do. So always looking for people to be a part of that.
And of course, you are also part of that because you've been in a few performances.
I have, that's how I got started with the Opera House. This last year, when we did Wizard of Oz, it was my 14th year doing Civic Summer Theater. So it's always been something I was involved in, and how I grew to kind of love the Opera House and love performing and being on stage. And so it's really important to me that we continue developing that part now of the Fairmont Opera House, of that organization, because it's fun, and it becomes kind of this family where we all we're on stage together, and we perform together, and we have potlucks on Saturday mornings, and we grill out, and it just becomes this really cool, tight-knit group. And it's just a ton of fun. We, remember each other's birthdays and all that kind of stuff. So, and we're always welcome to have more people. It's a big family,
Oh, yeah. It always expands. Well, good. I'm glad to hear about that. Speaking of entertainment, though, I actually, back in 2002, I had the opportunity to visit with a gal her name was Gail Garber. She actually was part of what was called it was a predecessor, actually, to Little Rascals, Our Game. Goes back quite a few years, but it was really interesting. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
In this week's segment, History Lesson, reporter Len Tweeten of the Martin County Historical Society had the opportunity recently to interview a Fairmont resident who had a very interesting history in Hollywood and on Broadway. She's retired, living in Fairmont now, and talked with Len in this week's History Lesson.
This is Lenny Tweeden. I'm with the Martin County Historical Society, and today we have the opportunity to talk to Gail Garber, who has quite an acting background. She lives right here in Fairmont. She was originally, with the original Our Gang series, and there's just a lot of questions I'd like to ask her, so I'm really looking forward to talking with her. Gail, tell us a little bit about the Our Gang series, you know, how you became involved, what part you played, and just whatever you remember about that.
Well, I was very young, and actually, coming out here to see my grandma, someone took me for a ride with a horse and a sled. Mm-hmm. And backstage at the theater across the street from me was a sled that reminded me of here, and I used to go back and see that sled all the time. And when they did, one of the actors saw me and took me out and said I was his daughter, you know, because I was a real ham. Uh-huh. So I started to sing for him, and then, do you want to know, could I dance? And I said, sure. I didn't know what to do. But I did it anyway. And somebody in the audience, a talent scout or something, saw me. Mm-hmm. And that's how it all started. I was about 3.5 years old.
Okay. Where were you from originally?
From New York. I was born in New York, right in Manhattan.
Right in Manhattan, okay. How did you happen to come to Fairmont?
Well, my grandmother was here, and I used to come here every year to visit my grandma, and I just fell in love with Fairmont. Okay, and that's... Out of all the places I've been in this world, Fairmont was always home to me.
Well, good, good. What was it like being an actress at that time, or being a child actress in, like, the Our Gang series?
It's a hard question to answer because I don't remember much of that. You know, I just knew I was doing something.
But it was enjoyable, something you enjoyed.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was a real ham.
Okay. Who were some of the characters that were with you in the series?
Well, all of them. Spanky.
Spanky?
And,
what was it?
There's
Alfalfa?
3 of them. Alfalfa. Mm-hmm. I don't remember much about that. I was so young.
So young. Mm-hmm. What other kinds of acting were you involved with?
Oh,
or what other kinds of shows? Or
I was with Bert Lahr for about 6 years in the show Burlesque.
Okay.
Which was a love story. It wasn't a burlesque show. Mm-hmm. And, I've done so many things. It's hard to remember. Mm-hmm. But,
some of the well-known actors and actresses you worked with, maybe?
Oh, Dan Daly was one of my favorites. Okay. I loved him. He was such a wonderful guy. Mm-hmm. And Rochelle Hudson. Do you remember her?
What was her name again?
Rochelle Hudson.
I don't remember her.
A very well-known actress before your time.
Okay, I think you mentioned you worked with Clark Gable, too?
Yeah. And, tall, good-looking with a mustache. That was his name.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, the Our Gang series, that was the original. Original one.
That was the original one.
And then following that was there another Our Gang, or did that go right to the Little Rascals then after that?
No, went right to the Little Rascals.
Right to the Little Rascals,
yeah.
Okay. Were any of the ones that you were on, were they filmed or silent film at all?
I don't think so.
They weren't?
They didn't have that then.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That one might have been...
I hate to admit that.
That might have been in the 20s, maybe?
The early 30s.
Early 30s? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. How long did that series run, or how long were you with the Our Gang series?
Oh, about a year or so.
About a year?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What was your stage name?
Gail Garber.
Oh, your stage name is Gail Garber.
Yeah.
Okay.
My real name is Jacqueline Lorraine Briggs.
Jacqueline Lorraine Briggs. Okay.
And my father was born in Wisconsin, Rice Lake.
Okay.
And my mother was born here.
All right. And you lived in New York?
Yeah, I was born in New York and brought up there.
When they filmed the Our Gang series, do you recall, was that in Hollywood?
No, it was in New York.
Well, that was in New York.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. From your experience with the acting profession, what kind of changes did you see over the years, or what are some of the maybe significant or important changes?
I've seen it go from good acting to lousy acting.
How do you mean?
Well, they weren't as good today as they were years ago, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it seemed like we used to practically live our parts. And today they just don't seem to care. They think they're so great they can just go out and, you know.
Sure.
It makes a big difference.
Is money more of an issue now?
Not really.
It was the acting profession always.
It was always pretty good. It was
Pretty good.
better than, you know, being a waitress or something like that. But it wasn't tremendously, you know, you weren't rich or nothing by
Sure.
it. But
As you think back over your career, what are the highlights or the things that stand out in your mind as being maybe the most memorable or exciting?
oh, I think the most memorable, exciting me was being with Burt Lahr and Dan Daly, because I loved both of them. I mean, not really. I loved them as people.
Sure.
And I don't know, they were just, it was a nice life, because it wasn't as glamorous as people think it is, because...
Was it? A lot of hard work?
No, they're just people to us.
Sure.
You know, it's another actor, another actress, and not, we don't glorify them.
And then we kind of look at it, you know, as being, like you said, glorified, but it's really probably a lot of work, too.
It's
as
a
far
lot
as
of hard work.
a lot of long hours. And,
memory. Knitting. Believe it or not, that's where I learned to knit.
Really?
Because in between takes and stuff, there'd be so much fiddling around with cameramen and stuff that I learned to knit. And I got pretty darn good at it, too.
If someone were interested in becoming an actress or an actor, maybe a high school student in theater or college, what kind of advice would you give them?
Forget it.
You really would?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if they're in college, then they're suited for more than acting. That's the way I figure anyway.
Okay. Did you have another career besides acting?
Yeah, I was a nurse.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Was that...
Those were my proudest days.
Really?
Yeah.
At what stage in your life was that then, when you were a nurse?
I stopped acting for 2 years to go through nurses training. And I loved it.
Well, you've had a really, really interesting career.
Yeah.
Any other highlights or anything else that you might want to tell us about that you think would be interesting or important, or?
Yeah, people you meet are always, you know, somebody nobody else would probably meet. You know, like queens and kings and presidents and stuff like that. You know, get advantage of meeting them.
Sure.
Which is like meeting anyone else, really.
But you just happen to have more of an opportunity than, say, the average person on the street.
I was introduced to the Pope.
Really? Which Pope was that?
Pope John,
Oh.
who I loved.
Okay, good. Well, I appreciate being able to talk to you and everything that you've been telling us, and we're sure glad to have you as a resident of Fairmont. I had no idea that there was somebody that, you know, was in the Our Gang series or an actress at that time that lived here.
It's always been my, for all the world that I've traveled, this has always been my favorite place.
Okay, well, I appreciate it, and thank you very much. And best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
Well, that was a great piece, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was really interesting. When I visited with her, it was to have somebody that has that kind of talent, but has been over the years, and really, it's a celebrity, I guess you could call it. So,
what an opportunity. That was great interview.
well, speaking of celebrities, you are, of course, one locally.
Thanks.
We talked about your involvement with the Civic Summer Theater, and we were talking a little bit before about the murder mystery coming up.
Yeah.
That's actually, our auditions are coming up really shortly.
Yeah,
aren't
they are.
Why
So
don't you tell us a little bit about it?
for sure, yeah. So auditions will be on October 19th. It's a Saturday morning. We'll run auditions from 9 to noon. And we kind of talked before about not sure about involvement, and I don't know if I want to do this or not.
Right.
One of the big hesitations people have is about auditions. And we try to make it really simple.
Sure.
Auditions aren't scary. We're this year for the murder mystery. It'll be you show up, we'll give you a little sheet to read off of, and that's really it.
Sure.
Murder mysteries are very simple. You don't have to really play a character. You have your name, and then you have kind of the description of what you need to do, and there's your line. It's really pretty simple. So we really encourage people to come out for that. So again, that's October 19th from 9 to noon.
And that'll be right at the Opera
Yeah,
House. then?
right
Okay,
at the
perfect.
Opera House. You
Good.
just come in the front doors, and then we'll probably do some reading on stage
Sure.
and things like that. But it's really pretty low key and simple.
So as far as the performance itself, it's not actually at the Opera House,
No,
correct?
it's not. We're trying to continue this commitment to the community and do things in the community. This summer we had performances at Sylvania Park here in Fairmont,
Right.
and to further that, we're actually partnering with Green Mill here in town. So there'll be a social hour and then food that's interspersed between the different acts of the show, and it'll be audience participation, all this really fun stuff. But that'll be out at Green Mill here in Fairmont, one of their banquet rooms here.
Sure. Yeah. So we have that coming up, and the performance date again is...
Yeah, so that'll be the first weekend of December.
Okay.
It'll be December 7th.
Okay.
And the social
Just
hour...
in time for the holidays.
Yeah, right in front of the holidays, which works really well, too, because the show we're doing is called Murder Me Always. And so the synopsis of the show is really quite funny, and that's kind of a characteristic of a murder mystery, right? But the show is... a performing arts group, like Civic Summer Theater, is doing a performance of a show. But then that kind of falls off the rails, and there's an actual murder, and everybody thinks it's a joke because there's a murder in there. So it's this really kind of interesting how there's a story intertwined in a story that takes place right in front of you as an audience member. So it'll be really, and it's all focused around the holidays, and it'll be a lot of fun. Good way to kick off the season.
It's a lot of time, a lot of ways that you can have fun, and you as a performer, but not only the performers, the audience, because they participate.
Yeah,
in it, so.
absolutely. Yeah, there's audience participation parts of it, and there'll maybe be some actors or actresses sitting right next to you, and you don't know it until you're into the show, and they pop up and say, "Oh, I'm part of the show." So it's really cool, really interactive.
Sure.
And what we're planning this year is something really, really special, and we don't get an opportunity to do it at the Opera House just because our seating is stationary.
Right.
So when you're at the Opera House, you see everything that's happening on stage.
Right.
What we're going to do for the murder mystery is called Theater in the Round. So the performance would take place like on this table, and we'd all sit around it and see it from different angles. So it's really, really cool opportunity for members of the community.
Okay, and it allows it basically itself to change as you go on, I'm assuming, too. So, as far as the performance goes. So a lot of fun.
It'd be really cool. So, auditions on the 19th, and even if you don't want to audition and you want to come see the show, we have limited seating, but if either one of those is something that interests you, then make sure you come and give us a call or check us out.
So how can they find out about this performance, about the Opera House, and about the ticket information, that type of thing?
Yeah, so all of our information is always listed on our website, fairmontoperahouse.org. Ticket information for specifically the murder mystery is at the top. You go to shows and tickets, and then Civic Summer Theater has its own tab, and then you click on that tab, and it'll take you to the murder mystery. To order tickets, you can always stop in and see us. We like to talk and grab coffee with people.
Sure.
But you can call us too, 507-238-4900, and we can get you set up with some tickets.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, and it's, Blake doesn't have anything to do anyway, so you might as well just stop in and talk to him if nothing else. So.
Yeah, keep me distracted for a while.
Well, I appreciate you coming in and explaining about what's going on. We look forward to seeing this murder mystery.
Yeah.
I mean, it's first time for you guys to be able to do that, so it's going to be a lot of fun, I know. So
it really will.
But thank you very much for coming on, and
Absolutely.
we hope to hear more from you in the future then.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
Thanks
thank
for
you.
having me.
All right, thanks.
We've had a lot of great guests on the show, and we have a very special guest today. Denise Rouse. How are you?
Good.
I think we know each other fairly well.
Yeah, fairly well,
I think so, and I'm very excited to have you on the show. we've been doing this show for about a year, and I thought it was about time that you came on and told
probably about
the
time.
folks what the heck you're doing here in town. So, of course, I'm very familiar with what you're doing, but share with the folks a little bit about the business you have here in town.
The business I have in town is a consignment shop called the Giddy-Up Boutique. And we specialize in used clothing from 0 to size 24, and men's and women's. One of the things we really specialize in is children's clothing. And I think it's safe to say, as you've seen, that we have to have probably one of the best selection of children's clothing in southern Minnesota.
I think you're correct, and I also think it's probably the largest selection of children's clothing.
Yes, absolutely.
In
So,
southern
if
Minnesota,
you need
for sure.
anything gently used for your children, this is the place to be, because we put out 200 to 250 items a day.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
I know. I've seen that.
yeah,
I've been in when you're doing it. And,
So our stock is constantly changing, constantly rotating. So, every time you come in, you're going to see something new.
That's awesome.
You're not going to see the same old thing. So.
That's awesome. And when I'm in the store, I've noticed many times people just being like, oh my gosh, I have never seen, this is the most
Yeah.
remarkable thing I've seen, biggest selection, great prices. So good for you. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you.
It's mostly a clothing store, correct?
Yes, all clothing.
All clothing. And how many square feet do you think you have?
I think you'd be better at that than I do.
That's kind of my thing,
I'm not
as
the
she
numbers,
reminds me. I always keep track of all that. You have almost 6,000 square feet of clothing in that store.
Wow. No wonder I'm tired when I get home at night, huh?
Absolutely. I know you have a very interesting decor in your shop. Tell the folks a little bit about that and how that came about.
Well, as you know, Jeff, one of the main missions of the store is recycling. So even all of the decor is kind of kitschy, funky, recycled things. If I'm at one of the thrift stores and something speaks to me, I take it home, put it up in the store, and all of that becomes part of the decor, and it's kind of a conversation piece when people come in the store. And then I kind of did it too, so that women can be a little more relaxed when their husbands come with them, so that it's kind of a museum and a store all in one, so they've got something to look at and keep them occupied so their wives can shop longer. So,
Denise, of course, I know you're not a country girl. You've never been a country girl. You're a farm girl, but not a country
but not a cowgirl.
Not a cowgirl,
yes,
correct.
I'm a farm
So
girl,
share
but
with
not
the
a
folks
cowgirl.
why and how it's called, your shop is called the Giddy-Up Boutique.
Well, it's based off your show, of course, and a character I played on the show, Prairie Ann.
On the soap opera.
As the Corn Grows, Prairie Ann had a boutique called the Giddy-Up Boutique, and that was in Sweet County. And we had talked about it so much on TV, and we had that little building open, and I said, well, why don't we do a Giddy-Up Boutique? And it went over well. So then we moved, when we bought the old Miller's building and moved everything in together, then we just called it Giddy-Up Boutique. It started out as kind of a spoof, and then it ended up being a reality, and it's a reality
It
today.
tied it in all together.
It tied it, yeah.
Tied it in together, and now everybody knows it as what it is, which is the Giddy-Up Boutique.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So now personally, share with the folks a little bit about kids, grandkids.
I'm a mother of 5, and I have 6 grandkids, so we keep, as you know, very, very busy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Denise, I know, and the folks might recognize you because you've been on Main Street with a business in town for 35 years. Did you know it's been 35 years?
No, can't be.
35 years. I have all the records. It's 35 years. But tell the folks, before you had the Giddy-Up Boutique, what kind of business did you have before
Before
that?
I had the Giddy-Up Boutique, I had an antique store called The Country Place, Antiques and Gifts. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember it well.
Yeah.
Very nice
Yeah.
store, too. Do you remember Archie
Whitman. I do. I read his articles all the time in the photo press. The Birdman.
Well known as the Birdman
Yeah.
in town. Well, he has a display, still, there's a display in the museum of his egg collections from birds from all over. Quite interesting character
amazing,
he was.
Really, yes.
Well, I brought along a clip from 1997. that was on Focus on Fairmont. Would you like to see
Yeah, I
that?
can't wait to see it.
Let's take a look.
No less famous to the residents of Grenada and Fairmont is our own Birdman, Archie Whitman. While the Birdman of Alcatraz came to his passion late in his life, Archie Whitman came to his passion very early. Whitman was introduced to bird watching by his country school teacher at age 7. She noticed his natural curiosity and wonder of birds and brought him a copy of Audubon magazine. This started him on a lifelong interest in birds. He decided he wanted to see every species of bird in the United States, but learned, as he put it, one life is not long enough. Whitman should know, because he is now 88 years young. From 1914 to 1934, Whitman traveled the country, collecting eggs from different species. Once he had collected one egg, representative of a species, he would search for another species. Game birds and waterfowl were easy to collect. However, sparrows, which are ground nesters, and warblers, who nest in trees, were much more difficult. Whitman claims he could climb a tree like a squirrel, and has never found a tree he couldn't climb. He recorded his finds on index cards with the description and location of the egg and when it was found. Whitman will be donating his collection, which contains over 280 species of eggs, along with the card catalog, to the Martin County Museum for the next generation of bird watchers. Always careful never to destroy a nest, Whitman would only remove a single egg. However, others abused the privilege of collecting and destroyed nests, so legislation was passed in 1935 outlawing egg collection. With his egg hunting days over, Archie Whitman had to limit his passion to bird watching. His backyard displays numerous feeders and birdhouses, many of which he has built. One that he designed is called the Minnesota Bird Feeder. Then there's a suet feeder and houses designed specifically for wrens and bluebirds. Whitman also planted a bush called upland cranberries to feed the birds all year long. In 1970, the photo press had a regular bird-watching column, which Whitman was asked to take over. That column, the Birdwatcher's Corner, still continues today. Whitman has written one column every week, never missing a column for the last 25 years. Today, hosts of friends call Archie about bird sightings, and they think of him whenever they come across odd or unusual nests, and they give them to him. For Archie, time may have slowed his search, but it hasn't diminished his passion for bird watching. I'm Timor Hines for Focus on Fairmont.
Well, now that was interesting, wasn't it?
Oh, very interesting.
Very
It was
interesting.
fun to see again. you know?
Yeah, it's been years
Yeah.
since that's been aired, so we're glad to bring that to the folks again. So now I know you have something new in the Giddy-Up Boutique in the last month or two.
Yes, we do. Yes,
Tell
we
the
do.
folks
We've
about
been,
that.
We've been working hard on. Well, we were getting in so many beautiful fall items that, and we didn't. If you've been in the store, you know how full our store is, and we kind of wanted to showcase all of those. So we found a little area and we tucked a little fall and winter boutique inside the Giddy-Up. So,
And what do you call that?
and we're calling that Broke Girl Boutique.
Right inside the Giddy-Up.
Right inside the Giddy-Up, yep.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
And it's
now
been
when you
very,
say
very well
when you
received.
say you tucked it in and it's a little teeny spot, how many square feet?
You'll have to tell me that, Jeff. Because
800
I never
square
heard
feet.
it.
So you have an additional 800 square feet of clothing. That all specializes, correct me if I'm wrong, all specializes in new fall items that you've just
Right.
received.
Yep, yep.
Oh, very,
Gently
very cool.
used fall items, yeah.
Very cool. Tell the folks how they get a hold of you, how they find you. You're on Facebook.
You can like us, like the Giddy-Up Boutique on Facebook. Yeah.
And you post on there frequently
Yes,
with.
we keep everybody updated on the new things that are happening, new things that are coming in. Yeah,
Very
just
cool.
all kind of fun.
Well, hey,
So I'm wondering, when do I sleep?
there will
all
be
that.
sleep in our next life.
Okay.
Neither one of us really receive a lot of sleep,
No.
I grant you. But we're having fun,
Yes, we are having fun.
and
Yes.
we are definitely challenged every day.
Yes, we are challenged every day.
So, and we're enjoying our kids and grandkids.
Yeah.
And right now, I enjoyed having you on the show.
Well, good.
Thanks for coming in. Now, wasn't that a great episode, Betty?
It was awesome.
I loved it.
I did too.
Learned a lot from that one, that's
Yeah.
for sure. Betty, I want to thank you for
Well, thanks.
stopping by. And as we share with the folks, the sponsors that made this show possible, remember, it's not just the past, but the present that tells our story.
So true.